Hello and welcome to the ChildCare Business Coach podcast. My name is Evelyn Knight. So, this episode that I'm sharing with you is actually going to be from my weekly Mindset Monday that I broadcast all over my social media, my YouTube, my Facebook, just pretty much everywhere I can, every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I wanted to share this message on my podcast as well because it's a very important message. I'm always talking about really knowing your own value and your own worth. And it's something I haven't really been honoring for myself. So go ahead and listen, and hopefully you can grow from this as well.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about knowing our worth, regardless of our flaws, right? And knowing who we truly are, and really just time to step into who you are and your own worth. And I do have a bit of a confession for everybody today. A lot of what I teach here on Mindset Monday, and a lot of what I teach, period, well, actually, 100% of what I teach is based on my personal experiences. It's just times in life that I have myself fallen down and learned how to get back up, right? So I really take you on the journey of my life. That's it. Everything that I teach you is things that I've learned through my own experiences. And I've come to learn over the last couple of years. I've had a lot. I've always thought that people's lives were generally like mine. And I've come to find out, no, I'm pretty unique. But I think a lot of that is because I'm willing to take so many risks, right? So I teach you now how to step in. And my goal is to really minimize your risk. That's really what I'm trying to do is a lot of times I've taken the risk and I've fallen down lots. I have fallen down lots. But I always get back up. And that's the point. I learn how to get back up. So what I teach you are the steps that I took to get up so that you never have to fall. That is my ultimate goal, is that you don't have to fall down over and over again like I have in my past. I just take what I've learned from falling down all the times I've fallen down and teach you how not to. So for those of you who are new, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the host of the ChildCare Business Coach podcast. I am a childcare center owner and the CEO and founder of ChildCare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps owners achieve that next level of success. Just really gets us to the next level. But my focus is always the children. My mission in life is to touch 1 million children's lives and to make the world a better place through children. I know that when I help owners and directors really lean into their greatness, that's just going to trickle to the children and it's going to make centers better for the children. I am not perfect. I definitely fall down a lot. And I forgot to turn off my ringer. So let me do that for you guys really quick. But it's really just about how can we be better for them, right? And so lately I've been going through another transformation. There's a couple periods in my life where I've had awakenings and I've had transformations. And there's certain life events that happen to each one of us that puts us in a position where we have no choice but to transform. My first life event happened in 2012 when there was so much that happened to me that I can't even begin to list the problems. But basically, due to a ton of stressors, working too hard, working too much, and a ton of failures on my part, to be honest with you, I basically made myself sick. I now live with a neurological disease that I will have for the rest of my life. I have narcolepsy, for those of you who are new to me. And I will be narcoleptic for the rest of my life. This means that I have to adapt my life to a disease. Yesterday was a day that I had to really just lean into that. And it took me over, right? And every now and then there's days where it takes over my life. And there was a time in that period of my life where I was a victim. I lived in the mentality of, why is this happening to me? To the point that I couldn't even leave my front door. I became so just I don't know how to describe it, maybe obsessed with what was happening to me, with how horrible things were happening in my life. And I'm going to do a quick 1 minute summary of everything I went through in 1 year. Okay. And this is probably stuff that people don't go through in their entire life. But oh my gosh, and I may not do it in order because it's like my timelines in my head, so much happened. But my husband had collapsed one day. I got a phone call. This is where it started. I was actually meeting, it actually isn't where it started, come to think about it. I was actually being sued, and I was being sued. It was just crazy. Almost lost my business. And I was meeting with somebody who was helping me with the lawsuit. As soon as I left the meeting, I got a phone call that my husband had collapsed at work and he was in the hospital. I ran to the hospital to find out that the doctors didn't think he was going to make it. I had two different doctors ask me if my affairs were in order and to make sure that everything was set for his departure. Luckily, he made it through. But 1 month, almost exactly a month later, my nephew was flown to an emergency hospital in the closest town possible. And he was in such a delicate situation that the helicopter couldn't fly him. So they had to charter a special airplane to get him there. Found out that he has such a rare form of cancer that it isn't even recognized in the United States. Okay, this is a month later. 2 months after that, I started exhibiting some major problems, and I started to not be able to stay awake. I was sleeping 20-hour days and I literally couldn't function. I couldn't help but sleep. And it was really disturbing to me because, you know, as a mother and as a business owner, and I'm facing all these things right now in my life, I couldn't stay awake. I literally could not stay awake. As much as I tried, I would do caffeine, I would take pill, I would do everything I could, right? Like I would go and buy those over the counter diet pills. I went to the doctor. She prescribed me things. I couldn't stay awake. So I started getting tested for what could be wrong with me. So then a couple months after all of this set in, I was on medication that was keeping me awake, but I was a basket case. The medication was really rough. We went on a vacation for my niece's wedding, and we were staying at a vacation home rental, kind of like an Airbnb, but it's more like a timeshare that you can rent. And while we were there, somebody broke in. We were sleeping that night. Someone broke into the apartment we were staying in. And my oldest son was awake and watched this man come in. He literally watched this man stand over my youngest son while he slept. I got to hear my son tell a police officer about how this man stood over my baby and watched him sleep. He went into my purse, stole my identity, basically. He took pictures of everything in my wallet and didn't steal very much. But my son, he started walking towards my bedroom. And it freaked my son out. So he jumped up and he ran in front of the man and stopped him. My son was 13 when this happened. So my 13-year-old son jumped in front of a man who had broken into the room we were in as we slept. He came face to face. I woke up to a very loud noise. And apparently what the noise was the man turned around and ran away and hit the sliding glass door so hard he broke it. So that was all the same year. A couple months later, to close my year out, well, not quite, it was still more. We were given, actually, which was a great thing, a trip to Alaska. But while I was there, my bank had made a big mistake. I had gone into the bank and told them, hey, I'm going to be out of town. I need to make sure everything's good. They turned on my bank account to a return all status. Something happened where they actually put a reject all status on my bank account. I'm a business owner. Everything while I was in Alaska was set to reject all. I had an entire payroll rejected, an entire payroll. I had 3 teachers walk out. It was horrible. Also, while I was in Alaska, one of my employees that just worked with me had been murdered, literally was killed while I was in Alaska. All of this, keep in mind, everything I just listed is 1 year of my life. A couple months later, to close my year out, I went to the doctor, and after doing all my testing, and this was the big final blow for me. I did not think anything was really going to be wrong. I thought just the stress, the pressure, and I prayed a lot, and I thought there's no way, nothing's wrong with me. It's just, I'm under so much stress, so much pressure. That's why I'm just so depressed. There's so much anxiety happening to me. And I got my diagnosis. I got my diagnosis of narcolepsy. And as someone who has studied the human brain, at the time, it wasn't quite as long. I was really, let's see, I just finished my bachelor's probably. So I was really just diving into the neurological side, but I knew what having a neurological disease was going to do to me. I knew what it meant. And since honestly, my brain is the thing I'm most proud of, it destroyed me. I had been strong through everything that I had gone through, right? I had to be, I had no choice, but it was stressful. I mean, I knew I had no choice. I had to be strong. But when I got that diagnosis that day, sat in that doctor's office, I thought for sure he was going to say, "Oh, it's okay. You came out negative, whatever." When he told me, and it's funny because when I sat in his office, when he did the initial diagnosis, he basically had said, "Evelyn, this looks so conclusive. I can't tell you definitively, but my expert opinion is you have narcolepsy." And I left thinking, no, he's wrong. He's wrong. I'm just going to pray about it. God's going to make everything good. You'll see. He's wrong. He's wrong. Don't worry about it. He's wrong. And I'm sorry, my notes are just went to sleep on me because I'm not using them. But I sat there by myself. I went to get the results by myself. And I just remember he told me, it looks like you need some time alone. And something just snapped inside of me. And that was it. It was like the accumulation of everything I'd been through. Now, the year before that, I had gone through the lawsuit and everything. I tell you guys about how I had an eviction notice on Zuin's door. That happened, and the lawsuit I went through and all of that happened the year before all this. Now, this is year 2, right? This is 2 years of just disaster after disaster after disaster that had happened to me. And it gets worse. I mean, as a result, I became agoraphobic. For those of you who don't know what agoraphobia is, it's the fear of leaving your home. That is my layman interpretation of it. And basically, I became terrified to leave my front door. I literally shut down. I completely shut down. I literally fell down and I could not get back up. I just actually finished writing a story for a book was asked to write for, and it really just hit me. I remembered a moment where I laid on the floor in front of my front door. I literally laid there and I couldn't get out. I just couldn't even stand up and open that door unless the only time I could leave my house is if my husband was with me. So that was the first transformation I went through. That was the first, that was when I hit my low, and I just really shut down, and I realized I had to make a decision. I was at a pivotal point in my life on who I was going to be. I could sit there and be the victim, or I could turn the situation around. And that's where I went on the journey to become who I am today. Someone who refuses to be a victim, someone who has chosen to be victorious through life instead of a victim. And I had some really important epiphanies during that period of my life that no matter what happens to me, I get to choose. I'm still the same person today. All that stuff still went through. And in fact, I've gone through even worse since then. And I'm still here. I still have narcolepsy. I do not have agoraphobia anymore. I don't let that label be pushed on me because I don't allow that kind of fear in my life anymore. I don't allow it. And I realized I was allowing it. Even though I had a diagnosis and a doctor put a label on me, I realized, nope, I'm choosing not to have this diagnosis. So that was my first major transformation. Since the death of my husband, which was the next huge event of my life, I've gone through a new transformation. And everything really came to a head for me this weekend. Ironically, so ironic that it all happened the way it did, because Friday was actually the 10th anniversary of my diagnosis. And for those of you who know, I am 100% a God girl. And God put me in a situation that is just so supernatural. Like the way everything happened and fell into place is so supernatural, so that I would be somewhere on the exact day that I caved to a disease 10 years ago. 10 years later, here I was. And it's funny because I had this feeling that, oh my gosh, all of this just happened. Everything just fell into place. This is bigger than sheer coincidence. So I looked it up, and sure enough, the date that I got my diagnosis was 10 years to the day from Friday. And I realized that I'm gone through another transformation. And again, I'm at a point where I get to choose who I want to be. So that's where I come to you today. And I have a major realization that I tell you all the time to step into who you're worth and what you're worth. I always talk to my audience about knowing you and not selling yourself short. And I was looking at my company, ChildCare Business Professionals. I realized I'm not taking my own advice. I am not stepping in to what I'm worth because there's a part of me deep down inside that felt like I wasn't worth it. That felt like I don't know what it is. I mean, there's so many layers to it, to be honest with you. I there is a layer that I was like, but there's better than me, right? And I'm just not quite there. Well, and I'm always telling myself, like, I'm not quite there. But then I also looked at the people I work with and some of the amazing life transformations that I've seen through my clients. I mean, literally lives changed, right? I mean, if you were at my summit, there were some amazing women there. And the women I talk to every day who tell me, Evelyn, you've changed my life. I am a different person because of the work you do with me. And then there are others who don't. And there are others who really they just don't, right? I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. There's no easy way for me to say this. The transformation doesn't happen. And I was thinking about why. Why is that? And I realized because I can't change a person who doesn't want to be changed. I can't change a person. Oh, you guys are going to make me cry. I swear. I see the comments coming in. You changed lives. I absolutely got my life back. It doesn't tell me who you guys are. I'm sorry. It just says Facebook user. I got my life back. But this is the work I do with people who are ready and who want change, right? This is the work I do. When you want the change, I have the tools, but you have to choose if you're going to do the work. Couple things I realized this weekend is I actually went to I'm actually starting with a new business coach. If you guys know my journey, I tell you guys, I up level coaches. As I up level to the next coach and the next coach and the next coach. Well, I've been searching. The higher level you get, the harder it is to find a coach. And I found my coach. I'm so relieved. It's such a huge relief. I found the person that's at that next level that I want to be at. And for those of you guys all met him at my summit, Tony Child is my new coach. And he said something that I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. The problem is that when you want change, but the pain isn't enough yet. You're not in enough pain to make the change. And I can't help you. I can't help you if you're comfortable living in your pain. I just can't. It's the people who are so done being in pain. So Tony told us a story I'm going to tell you guys. It's just like an old wives' tale. But basically, he said that it's an old story that comes from the South, and many of you may have heard it. There was this man walking home down this dirt road every day, and he kept hearing this dog howling and howling like it was in so much pain. Day after day, he heard the same howl. So one day, he set out to find the dog, and he found the dog and an old man just sitting on a porch. He asked the old man, he said, "Hey, why is your dog howling so much?" And the old man said, "He's sitting on a nail." And the man was, "Well, why is he sitting on the nail? Why doesn't he just get up and move?" And the old man says, "Well, maybe it just doesn't hurt enough." And that's when it dawned on me. For the people that aren't willing to invest in their own personal growth and development, for the people who aren't changing, it just doesn't hurt enough. They don't want to change. I have the key. I know I do because I've changed lots of lives and I've changed my own life. I know that what I'm teaching is the answer. And I've done it for a lot of people, a lot of people. But I can't change if you're comfortable in your pain. The second thing I realized is I need to stop chasing you. I need to stop going after people and stop trying to save people who don't want to be saved. I need to work with people who see my value and their own value. And because of that, I realized that I'm selling myself short. I've been telling myself all these years that, yes, Crystal, that's a hard one, isn't it? Isn't it? Are you asking yourself, are you comfortable in your pain? Right. So I had to stop and really just analyze. And I asked myself, am I charging what I'm worth? Or am I just pandering because I so desperately want to save more of you that don't want to be saved? For those of you who are in pain, like Shaylin and Crystal, you guys are perfect examples of people who said, you know what, this is not the life I want for me. And I will do anything to get the life I want, which means I will invest and I will take action, right? Both of you are willing to invest and take action in your lives, which is why you see results and others don't. That's exactly why you see results and others don't. So the decision I came to this weekend is that my membership program, and those of you who are already in, don't worry, nothing's changing for you. But I am significantly raising my prices. I'm significantly raising what I have to offer people. I'm changing my entire structure, and I am stepping into somebody new. I am stepping into somebody who understands what I am worth, and I am going to charge what I'm worth, and I am going to provide services that reflect what I am worth, because I know that what I give is life-changing, and that makes it priceless. And I know those of you who are ready who are in the pain, they're tired of the pain. It's not going to matter what I charge. It's not going to matter what you need to do. You're going to do it because you know you just have to. You don't have a choice because you know it's time. So what's happening for those of you who have been on the fence? That's so funny, Crystal. So Crystal says, I've been praying. Let's see. I've got to put this up here. I've been praying for over a price increase. I've worked with many business coaches and I agree you're worth more. Yes, I do too. And you guys, I pay a lot of money. My business coach, I'm paying $3,000 a month for, but I know I am worth the investment. I am worth it, right? I pay $3,000 because I know what I'm capable of and I know I'm worth it. But when I'm only charging you guys $497 a month, it's really just not, I don't know. I'm not getting the people who are in enough pain to a certain extent. I'm really not getting the people who $497 really isn't enough to really shake you up, right? And it's not about money. And that's the problem, is that everybody's making it about money. And if it's about money for you, then you're not ready to change. You're not. Because I'm willing to pay $3,000 because I know I need this. I know it's going to change my life. I was thinking about the first time I got a business coach, the very first time. I was literally had negative $5,000 in the bank. I had zero money in the bank. And I contracted with someone at $750 a month. This was about 8 years ago. So think about what $750 was worth 8 years ago. A lot more than it's worth today, right? Because I knew I was tired of the pain and I couldn't live in the pain I was in anymore. I was done. I needed real change and I was going to find a way to make the money to make it happen. And I did. Not only did I, but now I'm coaching people. Now I'm willing to pay $3,000 a month. I would pay $20,000 if that meant I knew I was going to get a result that made me better. So what I'm doing this week, I am raising my prices to $747 a month. If any of you guys have been on the fence about joining and you're in contact with one of my employees right now, I am going to give you some time. But as of Friday at noon, my new coaching prices will be $747 a month. As of January, they're going to be $997 because I am stepping into what I am worth. I'm absolutely not going to short sell myself anymore. The other thing that we're doing at CCBP is we're going to be doing a lot more live events around the country. I want to do at least 6 this coming year in 2023. And what I'm going to do in 2023 is we're going to be just doing 2-day just up level you events. Because if you are going to be a better childcare center owner and you're going to up level who you are, we need to start here. It starts here. I can give you all the business practices in the world, but if you aren't where you need to be in your mind, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So we're going to be doing very small events. I'm talking 30 people tops, 20 to 30 people. That way we are doing our summit, which is going to be the one large event. But the small events are going to just be very small, 20 to 30 people, intimate events. You guys, this is just an idea. So those of you who are interested, let me know, because if there's an interest, one of the events that God has really, really, really put on my heart is I'm actually even thinking of opening my home. I'm thinking about, for some of you women who are super interested and know you need to do something, I'm actually thinking about opening up an intensive where you come to me and we spend a weekend together and we really work. But I can tell you right now, I am such an introvert. If I open my home, it's not going to be cheap because I'm so introverted. So let me know what you guys think of that idea. But if you think, and that would only literally be maybe 5 of us just working really intensely together. Just a lock-in weekend where we just work very intensely. We just really hash out, what is your purpose and how are we going to get you there? How are we really going to step in? Right. So that's the other one too, for those of you who are really serious about leveling up to that next level, where we're just going to just work through it. And that'll probably be out of my house, like just bring you into my home. So let me know what you guys think about that. But that's pretty much where I'm going. I'm practicing what I preach, and I'm going to start leaning into my worth because I know I'm worth so much more. And I know I've been telling myself I need to just help and save more people. I need to save more people. So I need to keep my prices low. But I realize I can't save all of you. I just can't. And I'm going to save those of you who want to be saved. And if you want to be saved and you want that life change and you're ready to get to that next level of success, then it's not going to matter. You're going to take that plunge. So I hope you guys learn from this and raise your prices too. Really look at it and stop living in fear or stop trying to save other people and just lean into who you need to be. Just let it go, right? And just lean in and price yourself based on your worth instead of what other people think, what other people value, or anything else. Just find who you are. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.